Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you, Madam Speaker. The elements of this bill are critically important. Pay-as-you-go is essential. It is critically essential at this point in the issues dealing with by this country. If you look back over the course of the last several years, you'll see how this huge deficit has gone up over and over again. Let me just give a couple of examples of the way in which the huge debt that we have now has increased under the leadership of the opposition on the other side of the aisle here and the previous president. One of those was the military invasion of Iraq, which was completely unjustified. There was no justification for it whatsoever. The price of that is approaching now $1 trillion. Another issue that was dealt with in the context when they were in the majority was the tax cuts for the wealthiest people in America. Those tax cuts have now created the greatest concentration of wealth in the hands of the wealthiest 1% of Americans that this country has ever experienced since 1929, 1930. Now, we know what brought that about, and we know the same kind of circumstances that we're dealing with now. Let me just give another example. They're not very much in favor of things like health care. Take, for example, what they tried to do with Medicare back in 2003 and how the price of that has gone up so much. They introduced prescription drug provisions in the Medicare program, but they would not allow for the negotiation of any price. They would just say that whatever the drug companies want to charge you, that's what you're going to have to pay. And that price is now going up to somewhere in the neighborhood of $700 billion. All of that has created the huge deficit that we have. And if you look at the way in which that deficit has the economy, you see it over and over again. In housing, for example, over the course of the last year and a half, the housing situation in this country has gone desperate. All of these things need to be changed. This bill will deal with it constructively and effectively, and it should be passed unanimously.